Joking, not frozen. This is real life again. So technical difficulties, but we're persevering. We're fighting on through it. We should be good to go now. So you're probably looking around, seeing what's around me. Where could they be? Where is he in the world? Well, we have a special treat for you all. This morning, we ventured all the way up through the weather, all the way to Burbank, and we are going to meet up close and personal Joanne Asman and Traveler. Let's bring them out. Here they come. Woo! Woo! Hi, buddy. Hi. Hi, Joanne. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you guys?
So Joanne, I'm sure everybody's wondering, a horse on a cold day. Everyone's always concerned about the horses. What are some of the things you do with a horse on a rainy day to sort of make sure they're okay? And I'm sure they're fine. They're animals, right? They know how to deal.
Yeah. Well, for our horses, the temperature goes below 60 degrees at night. I put a blanket on them.
Okay.
I want to keep them nice and warm. I don't want their coats getting super fuzzy. If he wasn't Traveler, we could let his coat grow in the winter time. But
Sure.
then you guys wouldn't like how he looks on the field. So I keep my horse blanketed, and so since it was cold last night, he has his full blanket on.
And his blanket is, of course, USC Cardinal, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. There he is. Take a look at him. So when we're in the off season, what are some of the things that you're doing to train Traveler and get him ready for the upcoming football season?
We do a lot of work on the trails. As you came through the mountain, that's Griffith Park, and we have 1,500 acres to ride on.
Excellent.
So I do most of my training that isn't needed to be in an arena. We actually do out on the trails.
Oh, excellent.
You can train all the different gates and side passing and going over logs and all those things that helps get them ready for the game.
Mm-hmm.
We do a lot of personal appearances, birthday parties, funerals, alumni things in the off season as well, and we do parades.
Right.
We'll be doing the La Cañada parade in May that we do every year. So as you saw, we have the tuba. I have a small drum set.
The training tuba. Joanne puts it on herself just to make sure, right? Is it you? So who wears the tuba when you're doing that?
Actually, we haven't had any. One of your students, we would love to come out and help us.
Oh, sure, yeah. The tubas, I'm sure, would love to come visit people at their private homes uninvited at any time, right?
And we do the pom-poms
and
the megaphone and balloons and poppers. And
just to get them used to the sound.
And to get them used to the sounds.
Okay.
And, all sorts of things.
So when we're doing a game day, what are some of the things people may not realize is a challenge for Traveler on a game day? I know one thing you and I have talked about is if we're getting close to a touchdown, but we're getting close to that time where we can't run Traveler anymore, and he gets really anxious because he wants to run but he can't. Is there any other sort of things that are a little bit tricky for you and for Traveler that maybe folks aren't aware of on a normal day?
The main thing people aren't aware of is how early. Like if we have a 12:30 game, we're starting at 4 or 5 in the morning.
Oh wow, okay.
Because the horse has to be bathed. If it's cold, we blow dry them.
Yeah, okay.
They have to have time to eat. Dana is here now. Come over, Dana.
Dana, come on in. Everyone say hi to Dana Kanstul, the writer of Traveler. How are you, Dana? Good. Thanks for coming out this morning.
So Dana likes to try to exercise them before we bathe them.
Okay.
So they'll get a lunge or turned out in an arena, or she'll ride them real quick just to stretch their legs. And then they get shaved, and when the crew gets here, they know it's time to go.
Excellent.
So before that, we clean their path and make sure nothing's broken, everything's safe.
Oh, fun.
So
perfect. Well, why don't we bring him out? Is that okay?
Yeah.
And we can get the look at the full horse. How are you, Dana?
Good.
Oh, there he is, Mr. Traveler. So, Dana, I have a question for you. So your name, the name Kanstul, has a lot of history with the Trojan March. We played Kanstul horns for a long time. With the horse and you riding Traveler, what was sort of like that first game? What was that experience like? The first time you blasted out of the tunnel and did the pregame thing?
Not like anything I'd ever done before.
Sure.
You know, I kind of zone out. It's about me and the horse and riding the horse, and then we go out and have fun. And this one in particular absolutely loves to go out. So it's a blast to ride. And like on the GoPro video that we took, you know, it's a lot of saying, wait. Okay, now you can go and do your thing.
Right.
You know, and just the noise and how excited everybody is really unique.
And so in the stadium, I mean, I wish it were more full at a pregame. Sometimes it's really blasted full. Yeah. But with you, when you're up on Traveler, about how high is your head up there? Is that about 10 feet, you think?
Well, I can't make it under this.
Yeah.
I don't know how tall it would be.
That's probably close to 10 feet. When we do UCLA, and we haven't done it since Dana's ridden,
right.
But when Chuck and Hector were riding, and Juno was about the same size as him, they had to literally lay down to get under
through the tunnels.
Well, in the tunnel was okay, but you know, the hanging.
Oh, sure. Right.
Yeah, they literally have to lay down on them to get through.
Just to get under.
So that's how you have to really trust the horse.
Right.
And that's the important thing to Dana and I, is to have the horses trust us. That's the biggest thing that I look for in a horse, that I try to teach a horse, and Dana continues it. And so we work well together.
That's excellent. And so the reason I asked the height question is because I think the walls are they're about 8 feet high. So the
walls are pretty much at arm level when I'm on.
And so you're above. You can see, like, you can tell I'm not a very tall guy. And so when I'm in the Coliseum and I climb up on that ladder, it's kind of neat to kind of be at that level. Is that kind of exciting when you ride back and you're able to high five folks and sort of be at the fan level? Is that a fun experience?
That's fun. What's really neat is when you first come out of the tunnel. So you're up high and you can see everything, and you're like coming down onto the field. I mean, that's definitely unique. And then going by, when you get to high five the fans, going by and seeing the excitement on and the adults just as much as the children, or the ones that run down at the last minute, or you know, there's certain areas you can't go in because of stuff or grates on the side, and trying to get the person to realize they need to move, you know, and then when they finally accomplish it and you come back the next time, and you know, it's amazing how much joy one horse can bring so many people.
Right. And it's fun. It's always exciting for me to be on campus, especially this time of year. It's admissions time. So folks are visiting campus and they're deciding whether or not they want to come to USC. And it's always astonishing when they learn that Traveler is the mascot, right? Traveler is the mascot of the University of Southern California. It's not Tommy Trojan. It's not the drum major, right? And it's not Dana. It's the horse, right? And so that's always great for me, for people to learn. But you're right. When the horse comes out, that's usually the biggest cheer we get in pregame. You know, it's the announcement and Traveler, and comes out and we're hitting the turn of conquest, and it's a lot of fun. When you're occupying the field with the band, as someone, I marched in the band for a few years. This was back when Hector was riding. And when you're up front and you hear the horse coming and you hear the power sort of in the ground, what does it feel like from the rider perspective? Like, I've never ridden a horse at that kind of a gallop before. Just what is that energy? What's that power feel like as the rider?
Kind of like taking off on a really fast sports car.
Cool.
But as much as...
But 1 horsepower.
Yes, but as much as you have that thrill and excitement of that initial go and then just flying, basically.
Right.
Being able to stop at the end to make that turn.
Is that the tricky part?
Well, just, you know, as you're going, there's that, like, are the brakes going to work today? You know? And they do. And then you're very happy because you make the turn and you know you're good to go. Oh, that's awesome. You know? And
then in that preparation, do you spend a lot of time on football fields practicing, or do you just find open ground and mesh?
Trail, open ground, either the trail. And, you know, we ride a lot on the trails. There's everything going on. Sometimes there's loose horses. Sometimes there's trash trucks. There's things you randomly have to stop for. You know, people stop to talk to you.
Okay.
And so you get used to stopping a lot.
Stop.
Says, I want to go out.
Yes.
He's ready. He's ready to get out there.
Everybody, well, see, there's a crew here. So he thinks there must be an
event
going on.
And so for a so I don't know the horse. You said loose horses, and I've been on hiking trails and I've seen folks with horses. It's very rare that I run across somebody with a white horse, and let alone a white Andalusian. So I imagine that probably kicks up a fuss, right? People probably get excited to see a horse like this, even if they don't realize it's Traveler.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're such a beautiful breed of horse.
And when you're getting stopped, is it ever? I mean, it's just I get stopped at the grocery store sometimes when people realize who I am, what I'm doing. I don't have a horse with me. Is it always? I imagine it's probably always fun, right, to get to talk about Traveler and explain what it is you're doing on those days.
Around here, it's not as, oh, what a pretty horse, and a little bit more low key and more quiet,
Okay.
So it's more about they're excited because he's pretty than him being Traveler.
Oh, okay, sure.
They don't necessarily know he's Traveler.
They don't.
The best part is when you get somebody that goes, he looks just like. You're like, yes, he does. Go along your merry way.
And so when he's out and about, you're obviously not in the full gear.
No, I'm dressed as is.
Just as a normal horse riding person. What are some of Traveler's favorite activities to do other than be Traveler? Right, when he's out and about in the world, eat. Yeah. What's his favorite snack? What's he get excited about?
Anything for him. Anything. He's not picky at all.
Carrots.
He'll eat carrots,
apples,
melons, grapes,
watermelon,
cantaloupe. He gets that a lot at the games.
What's something that's strange that the horse eats that? Like a Tommy's burger? Probably not, huh?
No, but he does French fries.
but I might offer him things more.
Oh, you like
Joanne will go, you fed him that? I go, just a little bit. At the games, at home, I'm not much of a treat giver with any of my horses.
Sure.
And at the games, he knows if he's really good walking out, then he gets back, and whatever we have, he gets a little piece.
A little charcuterie, a little cheese.
Yeah, exactly. Peppermints, sugar cubes.
He's had the popsicles on the sticks, so you have to hold the stick.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to. You lose the wood.
He will bite the wood.
stick.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it in Looney Tunes. There was always like the salt lick. Is this real that I've heard?
Horses,
Okay.
Yeah, horses have salt licks.
And then what is that just to help get electrolytes back in the system, or is that just
Trace minerals?
Minerals, yeah.
Just for them?
Because when they're out in a field grazing,
Mm-hmm.
they get very different minerals and stuff when they're out of the ground and stuff than they do. Than they do, when we're stalled.
Sure. Okay. So we like seeing. What about when he's out and he's walking? Does he prefer a walk, a trot, a full-blown gallop? Like what's his favorite?
He does not, other than when he's turned loose in an arena by himself, he does not get to gallop except when we're on game days.
That's it.
That's it for him.
That's it.
He does a lot of jogging, trotting. I teach a lot of kids and adults, and he's one of the horses I teach off of a lot, or I pony the ponies off of.
Okay.
So, a lot of patience, a lot of consistency, slow, very methodical stuff.
Gotcha. So the big gallop is only
for
for
the opening
game
run and the sideline.
And is that? I imagine that helps for special appearances, right? You want to make sure the horse doesn't.
They want to stand.
They're used to standing and being slow and methodical.
The other day, he stood for 4 hours getting pictures taken when we were at spring concert.
Sure, yeah.
He loved it. It's starting to rain again.
When you were doing that, did you have any seniors come up to you, students who were graduating?
Whole bunch of seniors.
And how excited were they?
Oh, they were thrilled.
What's really fun is the seniors that don't know who he is. Who is he? Your mascot. Oh!
Maybe they've never been to a football game, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure that's possible.
That's one of the things.
The rest of them can't believe he's a real horse. Yeah. Like, we were standing there on him, and he moved, and they're like, it's a real horse. It's like, well, yeah, he's not a stuffed animal.
a stuffed motorcycle with a horse dressing. Right. What is maybe just? I know he's wanting to do some work, right? He's a nice workman. What's something that maybe and we talked about the eating habits and some of the training, but what's something maybe folks don't know about Traveler that you've always wanted people to understand about this beautiful animal?
Well, one of the things that people don't realize that we can do with our horses, and that's why they're trained the way they are, is we can take them anywhere and do just about anything
Mm-hmm.
with them. So, like going into your backyard, going up on stage, they go on sound stages, they, do that kind of thing. And people don't realize, like, if you're having a birthday party, for instance, that you can have the horse come.
Right.
And so I tell them, just call me and let me look at your place, and trust me, he'll be there.
Yeah.
So things like that, weddings, anniversary parties, those kind of things. Mm-hmm.
That's excellent. I know folks love horses. I love horses. But a lot of my horse education, as evidenced by my Salt Lake question, comes from like movies and TV shows and all that stuff. What's some good horse etiquette that people should be aware of if they're ever, not just traveler, but any horse, right?
That's a good question.
They aren't a dog. You don't walk up and stick your hand under their face. They don't smell you first. You can just walk up and pet them.
And always be aware, let them be aware of you if you're walking behind them, because they don't know if you're a fly,
sure,
or a predator, and horses are an animal of prey, so they're ready to run if something bothers them or kick out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we tell people, we always, if you see us do a personal appearances, I always have a person at the hind end of the horse to keep people from just walking up to their hind ends.
Right.
Their eyes are on the side of their head, so if they see out there, fine, but they don't see directly behind.
Right.
So when we're behind, we're making sure to talk and have our hand on us and know where we are. Another thing is, okay, he knows where I am, but if there's 8 people there and I walk up from behind, he's paying attention to them,
right?
Not what's behind.
Yeah.
Well, it's surprising, right? It's like if anyone sneaks up on me, like I think I've almost cleaned Brett's clock a couple times sneaking on me in the office.
Yeah.
And so, but this animal weighs
a lot more.
And has a lot more power. I grew up always being told, just don't go behind a horse.
Yes.
Like that's just instilled in me. Why, I don't know.
Why.
It's in there somewhere. I mean, I know the why, but how it came to pass.
Yeah.
But I think I know a lot of people get transfixed on the eyes of horses,
yes.
and they make that connection. So really, when someone's approaching a horse, is eye contact important so that the horse understands that they're coming up?
If you're walking straight ahead to him, he can't see you.
Right.
Because they see 180 this way.
Okay.
And they also don't. Their brain is not in the middle of their head. Mm-hmm. They actually have one on each side.
Really? Wow.
So that's why a lot of horses, especially a lot of show horses that are halter horses, because they only go one way.
Yeah.
They're never trained on the right side. They're only trained on the left side.
Oh, fascinating. Okay.
So yeah. So there's a lot of little things like that people don't realize.
Mm-hmm. The traveler cross-brain
we
training.
do everything on both sides.
Sure.
Yeah.
I would say as traveler, we end up doing more on the right, because photo-wise, the main side's prettier. The main side traditionally is on the right side.
Sure.
So I think for that reason, we end up, if anything, overcompensating.
I mean, we get on and off on both sides.
Oh, that's good.
Turn them both way. I mean,
That's something to know about traveler. He will stand next to anything to get on.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what's the most peculiar thing you've used to climb on the horse?
Walls, benches, backs of trucks, backs of golf carts.
A cooler.
More people look and they're like, "What are you doing?" And so just borrow your truck for a minute and climb up on the bumper and say, "Come over here," and they'll just line right up.
Is it ever like the movies? You jump off the saloon onto the horse?
Haven't done that.
Or was it the running from behind and hopping on? Right.
As a kid, not on him. He's too tall.
As a kid on a small. So I imagine you have your own horses. Mm-hmm. How many horses do you have? What is Dana Kanstul's horse involvement beyond travel?
Way too many, especially with the 3 we just bought. I have about 13, but that includes 3 ponies, and most of my horses work, each or leased, excepting the old retired ones that are just waiting to go along their merry way.
Okay. So 13.
Yeah.
And how many of them are ponies? You said 3 of them?
3 are ponies.
3 are ponies. Do you have a favorite horse child?
Yeah, I get asked that question a lot. It depends on what I'm doing. So Traveler 9 and I definitely have a very, very good relationship. I feel like I could pretty much ask
him from me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I could pretty much ask that horse to do anything, and even if he didn't really want to, he would really try.
It's like the neighbor kid that's always at your house eating dinner.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, Traveler 10, you asked me which horse I want to take to a game, hands down him.
Okay.
Absolutely hands down to him. He loves it. He's perfect. He's good. He
loves fireworks.
He loves watching fireworks. He loves loud sounds. So he is an absolute joy to take to the game. Traveler 9 likes the games, but he gets a little anxious about the fireworks. So, it's like I like doing what they like. So he likes doing it. So I like doing that. If I'm hopping on a horse to go out on and teach off of Traveler 9 and another training horse I have, if you ask the kids, they're almost always the ones I grab. I just throw a bareback hat on them, throw a bridle on them, we go. They're good to go. So it just kind of depends on what I'm doing. If I'm teaching, my little black pony is my favorite to teach off of, or to teach to.
Of all the horses you've owned, I think is what he wants to know.
Out of all the horses I've owned, it's probably my 32-year-old show horse, Domino, who was very much like Traveler 9 as far as just a connection. And it was, you swung your leg across and it was like, you just thought it. And the two of you were on the same page. And you just know. And just, yeah.
Well, I imagine you're there, just even body language, just because you're physically touching, right? I imagine the horse can feel some of those slight body movements that you maybe even don't know you're doing.
So that's what I read in an article recently. It was talking about wild horses in a herd, and so they circle in the herd, and the ones in the middle get to sleep, and the ones on the outside are sort of paying attention. And they were talking about how they can feel and sense each other's heart rates, and when the outside one's heart rates raise, even if nothing else has changed, how they'll react to that. Interesting. And from a riding and teaching standpoint, absolutely. I can get on this horse and he can be calm as could be, and I can put somebody else on this horse, and all of a sudden they're a different horse, and it's like they aren't doing anything physically. I can't tell you, but it's internally.
Can sense and then sense the heart rate and
And
I imagine some people getting on a horse, if they're not on a horse consistently, that anxiety comes through and you feel it. So what was for breakfast today?
Soaked pellets.
Okay.
A big mush.
A big mush?
A big mush.
Horse oatmeal.
Horse oatmeal. That's definitely what it is. Yes.
Excellent. Yes. So
that way he gets water in his system.
Okay.
He gets all his vitamins and stuff that way.
So what's on the docket for him today? When we're done this morning? Yeah, when we're done. What's his schedule?
He'll either hang here or we'll take him back to the barn and Dana will work him. It just depends on Dana's schedule any given day. So.
Excellent. We'll get close to wrapping up, but is there anything that we haven't touched on, that we haven't talked about, that would just be crack shot people would love to know about you or the horse or you or anything else?
This is my 20th year.
Yeah, that's right. I remember talking about that.
Yeah, so that's been kind of fun. We've had Traveler 7, 8, who was very short, unfortunately, because he passed away. 9 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
We just got a Traveler in training.
Excellent.
So we'll be bringing him to stuff, getting him used to things, that kind of thing.
Band camp?
Band camp, yes, he'll definitely go to band camp.
Yeah, bring him on.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of band camps this year. Do you want to mention about how Traveler is now under the auspices of Spirit?
Absolutely. And so I know it's come up in news here or there, but as of July 1 of 2022, the Spirit of Troy grew. And the song program, the Spirit program, and then working with Joanne and Traveler, that moved from recreational sports underneath the umbrella of the Trojan Marching Band. So now, when you use the Spirit of Troy, and that's the terminology you throw out there, you really are talking about every aspect of the university that contributes to the tradition, the pageantry, and all things selfishly, I would say, exciting about USC other than Trojan football. And with that, part of today's fundraising efforts, we're supporting travel. Travel, of course, the Travel Fund also helps us, like we brought Traveler out for the Cotton Bowl. So those donations help siphon funds and move funds that way. But we also have at the bottom of today's list, if you go through the website for Day of Support, there's 5 endowments. And so if giving to the Travel Fund or you're not an alum from the band and that doesn't appeal to you, we're also always looking for ways to support the great Spirit of Troy organization. So we have the Song and Spirit Endowment, we have the Student Scholarship Endowments, Instruments and Uniforms, and then of course the Traveler Endowment, which is what helps fund and support Joanne and her efforts and this great horse. Look at that. He knows his close-up's coming up. You can feel it. And supports this great program. And so we are just thrilled. We are geeked to have this sort of big Spirit umbrella. I think it was a long time coming, and it makes for a great synchronicity across campus and what we have going on. And so we've got a schedule to keep. I would say I would promise no more technical difficulties.
Dr. Vogel, we have a question from the audience.
Hey! I didn't say I was taking audience questions, but for Traveler, we'll take an audience question.
Does Traveler have any movie gigs or TV gigs upcoming?
No.
Since he became Traveler, our time is taken up with doing so much for USC and with the games and personal appearances and stuff that we're doing a lot less of movie work, because movie work takes a long time just for filming. They do occasionally print work, because that's one day here, one day there.
Sure.
But movies for now are out. The last movie they did was Savages with Selma Hayek.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Did she ride them
did that.
in that film?
Yes, she did ride Tuna.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What's that experience like when you've got a big time A-list celebrity? Like here we have Will Ferrell coming up. And all right, oh my gosh, we're going to put Will Ferrell on Traveler. Like, what are some of the things, or in this case, Selma Hayek, that are going through your head in those preparations?
Well, Selma Hayek had, we did 4 different shoots with her for magazines, and she'd been hurt by a stunt horse, so she had gotten leery of horses again, even though she rides and has her own ranch.
Oh, okay.
So we slowly let her get to know Traveler 7, and she fell in love with him.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So that's why we ended up doing 4 different things, and he ended up doing her film because he was the only horse that she trusted.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So that was fun. And it's fun when we get to know people like that, like you and I were talking about Hugh Hauser.
Yeah.
That was kind of like he was. He just fell in love, with Traveler.
Oh, great.
So his half-hour little interview, he went to the producers and said, this has to be an hour show. And they went along with it, and it became an hour show.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah. So it's fun when we, get to know the people we work with.
Where does that California Gold segment, does that live on YouTube somewhere and people can find it?
I think it is on YouTube.
Okay.
It's lives at Chapman College now. His whole library was donated to Chapman College. But I think it is on YouTube, and KCET still shows it 3, 4, 5 times a year. I get these calls from people saying, "You're on TV again."
Oh, fun.
So yeah, it's KCET. He's one of their favorite shows to show. One of their most popular.
Oh, that's great. All right, Casey, any other questions out there?
Can't say goodbye this way.
Nope. All right. Well, we're going to sign off here from Burbank. All of you out there, let's give a big round of applause. I'll do it quietly for Traveler. Thank you, Dana, for helping us out. This is awesome. Thank you, Joanne. I'll hug you after. We'll get Traveler put away. But thank you all for tuning in. Like I said, this is the Day of Support. We're supporting the Spirit of Troy, getting ourselves ready for Big Ten travel, and with Big Ten travel comes big goals. So keep sharing the stream. We'll try to not get pulled down for copyright again. And the next time we tune in, we will be visiting the Sword and the Stone with Tony Swatton and learning about the drum major and the armor. So we'll talk to you soon. Fight on.